The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Monday, October 7th, and it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. And once again, this is C.A. Newry, and I shall be your host for today. Today is an interesting day, and I wanted to have a different type of show. And I needed a social commentator, a social activist, a social advocate, someone who critiques ideas and concept to be here with me. And of course, I have Erin Green. So I say, hey, I'm going to have this conversation with her. I do social commentary, right? And I happen to belong to a social commentary group on Facebook. This group is Informing Bahamians of Job Vacancies. It's only about jobs. It's only about jobs. And there are times that people come there mischievous and say some strange things and say, man, this is a serious place, right? These are people who need assistance, and you provide a resume, you give them guidance in terms of jobs. And again, the name of the group is on social media, Informing Bahamians of Job Vacancies. Today, an anonymous member. I do not like anonymous members because anonymous tend not to be responsible. They mean to say things. They yuck up my vexation. I tend to be brash with anonymous. I call them all as one, the anonymous. An anonymous member wrote this. And of course, I responded in kind. And this is what my conversation is going to be about. Duty of care. Similar to what Erin Green spoke about on her part of the show, but duty of care, responsibility. Was I brash? Was I too harsh? Right? And Erin, I'm going to read it to you, and so get ready to do your commentary right now. This anonymous member wrote inside the job vacancies group, and this goes like this: quote, "Lord Jesus, can someone help me with 2 baby bottles and water and toothpaste and baby milk? Please, my baby daddy put me and my girls out last night." And of course, the crying face. I'm going to read it again because I know the listening audience need to appreciate the conversation, right? So they can soak in and understand time and place, spatial awareness, all these words, right? This is from Anonymous, right? "Lord Jesus, can someone help me with 2 baby bottles and water and toothpaste and baby milk? Please, my baby daddy put me and my girls out last night." That's the post. And of course, people start commenting. Mm-hmm. I, seeing the post and shaking my head, saying, man, this ain't the place to be doing this, right? I don't believe Anonymous ever could be sincere, right? I asked this flippant question. What did you do? Men don't put women out with their children, right? Because for me, I dismiss it as being real anyway, right? Erin, you and I have family. And every so often we find ourselves financially challenged for whatever reason, broke, right? When I am broke, do you know what I do? I go to my daddy. Jack, I broke. I got to pay you next week. Give me an advance. I go seek an allowance as man still, because he understand I have a family. He understand I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it, right? He understand that, but he's payday and next 2 days. He understand I might have overspent. He has a duty of care to me because that's my daddy. I is his son, right? And I'm reading this
You ain't watched the play, August play Denzel Washington. When he tell us, I ain't got no duty to care. I raise you.
I raise you.
Use mine now. I ain't got no duty to care to you.
He say, I'm responsible for you.
Yeah.
Why are you in my house?
Yeah.
But I have to like you.
Yeah.
Right? I saw that. It was a good. They had one with James Earl Jones also. Same play. Right? And I ask you this. I'm asking this. Let's say this is real. That this lady was put out by her boyfriend. Right? With the 2 children. And who has the duty of care? And you mentioned that we all have duty of care to Bahamians and whatever it is, or people in general, right? But this is my concern. You're a woman. You had an argument with your man friend. You were put out. Surely you go to your parents as your first resort. If you cannot go to your parents as your first resort, you go to your siblings.
Okay, so...
No, let me finish this. Your siblings and your extended family as your second resort. And if you don't go to your siblings and this extended family as your second resort, you go to your friends as your third resort. And if you don't go to your friends as your third resort, you're supposed to be a member of a church. I attend St. Anne's. You can go to St. Anne's right now to the rector, and they'll give you all kind of things because you ask, because you belong to the church. Mind you, you don't even have to belong to St. Anne's Church, you know. You just need to live in Fox Hill. Man, you just need to come and ask. And the rector say, hold on. And you might have groceries for a month. That's what St. Anne's Church. The Anglican Church on top of the hill, right? I think St. Matthew's does the same thing too. I'm familiar with those 2 churches, right? And I'm reading the commentary by a number of women. And I know women are emotional creatures, and I guess they can empathize with this woman. Right? A man put them out of the house, and right, with the kids, and that she needs support. But see, I'm logical. I can't picture a man putting a woman with his kids out.
Now, no, she said her kids. So,
Man, go to your mother.
well, I'm just saying, let's stick a pin, right?
Go ahead.
She said her kids.
Yeah.
The question is, are they his kids as well?
There you go.
Right? Maybe they're not his kids. Maybe that's a part of the tension that caused him to put them out, right? But if they're his kids, then you go to social services.
One would assume, now this happened last night according to this
Yeah.
note they put on, this job finding business, right? One would assume if a man put you out unjustly, I go into the police and say, policeman, he just put me in. I have things inside.
Yeah,
here."
I've been living here for a certain amount of time, and he just throw me out.
Police will put him out and say, this is a woman with children. She can't be going out at this present time. And if he has the right to put her out, surely the next day you go to police and say, police, I come to collect my stuff.
Or you go in for a spousal protection order that may, or you go in for assistance that you may be able to stay in the home temporarily until you are able to secure safe housing for you and the children.
This is my question also to you. If you are asking me for money, do I have the right to ask you why you need it?
Okay, so watch this. This is the point I wanted to, I was sort of most interested in. When you're asking for money, you're creating a relationship between you and the people who you're asking for money for, right? But sometimes people are in situations where, like, I need the money. It's an emergency. I may be ashamed of the reasons why I need the money. But, right, there's some people who will be ashamed to share why they need the money or even to indicate that they need money. So there's a part of the culture that says, hey, and when people need, we just give. We don't ask, we just give, right? The way that works best is when there's an institution or an organization involved, because really what it is that I trust the organization. I don't need to trust you. I don't need to know your personal story. I don't need to know why you need the money. But I trust that this organization has integrity, it has credibility, and that the organization would not facilitate fundraising for a frivolous or trivial matter, right? So in some spaces, do you ask the man on the side of the street why he wanted the money?
You didn't get my money in the first place. I asked him, why you ain't working?
The second half is that when you are asking for money, you creating a relationship. And so you want my money, you should tell me why you want the money. You want to compel me to give you the money, well, compel me to give you the money. Is it invasive? It can feel very invasive, right? But you're trying to create a relationship with me, with you and my money. To create a relationship with you and my money, you need to convince me. We should, though, practice empathy and critical thinking and spatial awareness and be respectful and courteous and not demand too much. Well, miss, I have a baby and the father's gone. Well, what the father name is, I'll go find him and tell him straighten up. That's too much. That's too much, right? But it's not unreasonable for people to say, well, tell me what you need the money for. Right? Because I may then...
To get 2 bottles and some water.
Right. I may then turn around in response and say, I could get you 5-gallon bottles of water and a case of bottles for free. I just don't have any money to give you. Right? And so that's why people ask as well. I may be able to help in kind, right? Like I may not be able to give you cash. I may have what you need and I can give it to you without the cash. But, you know, this space... the question, do I have a right to ask why you need the things or why you need the money? Yeah, you have a right to ask because somebody's trying to create a relationship with them and your money. But you got to be respectful and practice empathy when you go into that space.
The other day, the singing prophet was in the news.
Yeah.
Someone hacked his telephone, right? And the text went out like this. This is the singing bishop. I was asked give the name, to donate $200 to them. I do not have the money on my debit card at this present time, but I plan to give them the money and goes through the whole spiel. However, I'm short. Can you send me this money and then I'll compensate you later on? And a number of people send the money. They didn't ask nothing. And then he came on and said, man, I asked for no money, man. It's clearly his hack. Why didn't you interrogate me or the WhatsApp to find out if it's truly me? Because I would have never asked this
But not just that. When I'm raising funds for an entity. I come short, I'm raising funds. I'm not going to ask you to give the money to me. I'm going to ask you to take the money directly to the entity. Right? For me personally, because I don't care, but you say, okay, when you go, say, I, John Doe, am making this donation on behalf of the Aaron Green Foundation. When the people say, send the money to me and I can send it to them, that sounds scammy to me. Why can't I just send the money to the entity itself and say, Aaron Green asked me to send the money to y'all? Right? And so like you say, you got to be a critical thinker. You have to interrogate what it is before you to ensure that you're not being taken advantage of. You know, I don't want to say it's as simple as that because it's not always that simple. But here's an instance where you do need to have a critical mind. You do need to say, well, hold on, Bishop, what you mean you run short? What you mean the debit card? Why you got to send the money to you? Why you don't have a telephone number here?
So I can call you and talk about it.
Right, and I could hear your voice. And I could say, sing my song. Sing my song, because if it don't sound right, I know it ain't you. Right? If you don't say thundering and likening in, then I know it ain't him.
When you go to social service, we've been to Michael Road to donate the place where they collect grocery and they redistribute it to indigent people.
The sort of NGO pantry, food pantry, Hands for Hunger food pantry.
They tend to interrogate you when you come and ask for things. They ask you for a street address. They ask you how many people live with you.
Okay, so how many
They ask
people
you
live with
if you're employed.
Yeah.
They ask if you could receive any social service benefit from anyone else. Mm-hmm. Right?
Okay, and just to in just quickly, that is for the effective and efficient allocation of resources, right? We want to make sure that we are using our resources as effectively as possible. So if you're getting support from other places, then we know that we don't necessarily have to support you fully,
They
right?
even ask if you're Bahamian.
Yeah.
One would say, but if you're poor, you're poor. It doesn't have to be.
Okay, so watch this. If you are, remember when you come into the country, when you travel into the U.S. and you see the amount of time you spend in, and say sometimes immigration officer will ask you, well, how much money you have on you?
Yes.
And you tell them, and they're like, their face screw up, and they're like, are you sure you can sustain yourself for the amount of time that you are visiting this country, right, with your own resources? Mm-hmm. And so if you are a documented migrant, whether you're a tourist, right, whether you are on a work permit, whether you are what we like to call fancy work permit holders, expats, your presence in the country is predicated on your ability to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Right? So then a process can begin. Look, I'm undocumented. So I found myself in the country. And that organization may say, well, look, we're going to connect you with an immigration lawyer because we have a duty of care, right? As an entity registered with the government, we have a duty of care, or we have a legal responsibility. So we're going to connect you with somebody who could help you figure out your status. Maybe you need to seek asylum. Maybe you need to make a refugee claim. Or maybe what it is that you come to visit the Bahamas, somebody told you they could get you a job behind one of the fancy gates, right? And you had a job for 3 weeks and you done changed your life and you living in the Bahamas, and then all of a sudden you lost your job.
Time to go home.
This is what I'm saying, right? Then it's time to go home. You're not going to be relying on an asylum claim. You're not going to be relying on a refugee claim. You know, you came because somebody promised that they could get you straight, right? But you came with the presumption that you could find work legally and be here documented. It didn't work out. It's time to go home.
Let's go to the caller hang up. So, am I mean? You can call back. Am I mean to say I ain't giving her no money, whoever Anonymous is, because I don't trust them at all with this story?
So you're saying that I don't give money to anonymous people, like that's not my protocol. At the very least, I need to know that you're a real person.
Real person with a real profile.
No, I don't think that that's mean. But you know what I think is mean? What I think is mean is making making a decision like that. I don't give to people that I don't know, I don't trust. I see them and I know they need things, but it ain't my responsibility. And then you not working to create social systems to support these people. Now, when I say working, I don't mean you have to put on a new hat and become an advocate and start an NGO. That's not what I mean. What I mean is when your MP or the candidates come to talk to you about your vote, you talk to them about the very real issues that they need to address if they're going to be your MP. In fact, let them know that they need to be able to articulate at this point what they could do.
Okay, let's go to this caller right now. Go ahead. Good morning, caller. How you doing?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Newry and Ms. Green.
Morning.
I just want to speak to this hacking thing that people keep calling that's happening in the Bahamas. We like to use the word hack even for Facebook and WhatsApp, etc. It's a form of social engineering. Somebody calls you, tells you that you're part of a group, and that they're about to have a Zoom meeting, and they're about to send you a code for the Zoom meeting. Can you give it to them right away? On your screen pops up a message from WhatsApp saying, this is your WhatsApp transfer code or whatever code in the front of you. Do not share this with individuals. And they provide that code to those individuals so they can attend the Zoom meeting, even though it does not say anything about Zoom. And I've seen this across dozens of groups. I sit in almost 1,000 WhatsApp groups in the Bahamas. And just in the last 2 days alone, I've had 7 people call me telling me that they want me to attend the Zoom meeting. So I'm saying, huh?
I was just saying,
So essentially, all individuals have to use is common sense and read the code that these guys are requesting, and also know that you don't need to get a passcode to enter a Zoom. I mean, to be join a Zoom meeting. And then they say the Zoom meeting is for the group, and you're in a group, and you go, what group meeting that the Zoom is having? And so, and we see this all the time for Facebook also, where people call me, and I'm saying to you, members of Parliament, police officers, doctors, and other people have called me over the last month. So it isn't isolated to any particular grouping of people, but it total seems to be a digital unawareness as to how things work in spite of them using it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you very much. See, I just worry of people asking me for my hard-earned money. My money belongs to my wife and my child. Full stop. Right? And when you ask me for their money, I now have to ask you why. Because now you taken away from them. So that's my concern. And I'm concerned that there are Bahamians who don't have this gift of discernment to question it. To question, why are you asking for money? What went wrong?
this morning, a gentleman at Shirley Street and Mackey Street engaging drivers to contribute to his personal GoFundMe is cool. I get it. People are struggling. They're trying to figure out how to make it work every day. When he came to my car, I said, Uncle, right now you making more money a day than I am. Right? Like I know some of the street economics. One of those young men I would give to regularly, but I also indicated to him that, look here, I sell fruit. And so if you want to work, you figure out how to get me fruit legitimately and I will pay you for it. I said, whenever it's fruit season, I said, when I see you, I will buy it from you. You tell me he ain't interested in that.
You don't climb trees.
And then a friend of mine said, you see that boy right there? When I go to wake on the dog, I just watch him park his bike in the park, take his white clothes out of his backpack, change his clothes, and get on the streets.
There used to be a gentleman who used to be at Montague Beach roundabout. Nobody turn on the beach and go to Easton Road or turn back to go straight street. And he used to ask how to sign and collect money. No, actually, he used to be sitting in a wheelchair.
Right.
And then we found later on that he was not handicapped at all.
All right, so they're two different gentlemen. One is, it seems to be an older, darker skinned gentleman who's disabled. And they are on where East Bay turns into the Eastern Road, right in front of Montague.
No, I'm not talking
No,
about that.
the younger boy was actually at Shirley.
Okay.
He was at Shirley and Village Road and Eastern Road intersection in the wheelchair. And I found out as well. And I've had words with him. And I told him, you are messing it up for other people. There are people who are legitimately disabled and really struggling. And this is the only thing they could figure out. And you have come out here to take advantage of that sentiment.
This text says, we're going to a caller right now. It says, CA, I believe anyone asking for money should reveal their identity and should not be anonymous. That's utter foolishness, right? This one says, hi, Aaron and Newry. Listen, why these young girls go and have 4 and 5 children and expect another man to take care of them? Go find your baby daddy. You make a mistake, once you make it 5 times. Some of them deserve what they get. Sounds a little cruel, but that's a fact. Good show, guys.
What if that young girl had early sexual initiation through molestation, through grooming, right? And then when she hits 18, the people around her watch a grown man develop a relationship with her.
Let's go to this caller right now. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me? Going once? Call back. This text says, Newry, I also saw that post. And whenever I see posts like these, I ask the same question. Where are their families, friends, or are they associated to a church? I ask the same thing. I see my money anyway. Cecil, everybody don't have your daddy or your family. True story. Let's go to the caller. They need better parents. Pray. Go ahead, Cody. Can you hear me?
Newry,
How you doing?
listen to me. First things first. I'm wondering if any of y'all ever got a call where somebody could tell y'all like y'all win $100,000, but y'all have to send like $300 to clear the money.
I done watch that on the after school special, sir.
I watch it too
What
much
I
time
did
to
is I
say.
told them, take the 300 out the money and just send the balance. I say, no, you know what? Take about 3/4 of it and just send the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Help some people in the country where you calling me from.
Mm-hmm.
They hang up, they never call me back.
Mm-hmm.
You smarter than the average bear.
Now this thing with these young ladies with these children,
Mm-hmm.
a child, a woman, a lady with 5 children, 9 out of 10 chances there for about 4 different men. Most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when these fellas take these women in, they don't realize that this is a package deal. They don't realize these children come with the mother.
Because y'all told them a D is satisfactory. I could be honest with you.
No, but what I'm saying, you can't expect to have a good time with the mother and take the mother in and the children are excluded.
Exactly.
But you have some of these women too. In closing, some of these women are tricky. When you meet them, they start off with one child. And then but 2 weeks later, they bring the next one. But this one was living with his daddy, but he didn't want to stay. That's why I wasn't counting them. Then they bring one next one. This one was with their daddy, mother, and Andres. But then you look the woman that up with 5 children with you. Now my she might only start off with one.
Y'all brave?
You're in love. You can't tell the woman no more, man, I ain't this and I ain't that. You know, it's both ways it occurs. You have to look at it sometime, man.
Y'all brave. Look here.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Y'all are the bravest men in the history of the world. You think I's man and I just gonna go and have sex with a woman and not know everything about her or as much as I could find out?
You're a woman nosy. We men different.
Okay, you wait and then find out the woman have 5 children after you done fall in love with her with only one child.
You put them out at 2 o'clock.
No,
in the
you
morning.
don't. No, you don't.
Let's go to the next caller. Go ahead, caller. How you doing? Call a girl once. Call a girl twice.
Again, the numbers to call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. If you're looking for the numbers online, like on social media, you could go straight to Facebook, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, and on the About page, the numbers are all listed there. The text line, again, 422-GR96, that's 422-4796.
Aaron, I admit that our government can do more, right? Like, for example, right? If you're a single mother, surely our government can provide after school daycare until about 6 o'clock, where you can work longer.
Hold on, Mr. Newry. I see you. Let me raise it. We tout tourism as our number one industry. We now provide not just a year-round service, 24/7 service. There should be 24/7 daycare available, whether you are indigent, whether you poor, working mother. Anybody who is working a night shift should be able to access
A safe environment.
a safe environment for the children. See, that's the thing. You know people have to work. You know they cannot afford daycare. You know some of them working at night. Would you just close a blind eye when you see them come to work?
What about even after school pickup? Surely our government can provide that.
No.
Pick up your child and drop him to
the politics is the politics has mashed up the busing system.
You can have a private busing system, man.
We could, but apparently somebody doesn't want us to.
Let's go to the caller there. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear us? No caller?
All right, if you're having difficulty with 323-6232, remember you can try 325-4316.
325-4316 or 325-4259. If you're calling from the Family Island, of course, 242-300-5720.
So in this conversation, I think a great reference, remember on Friday I had Dr. Kim Williams-Pulford author of the book Get Involved, Stories of Bahamian Civil Society, that explores philanthropy in colonial states and how we give and creating new ways of giving.
Yes.
And I think it would be a great read companion to this discussion.
Yeah, definitely. Did we get the caller now? Caller, can you hear me now?
Yes, hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I had to call again. Listen, man, Mr. Newry. Firstly, I like to humanize the situation. Ms. Green, sometimes we clone plants, right? But what happens when you plant a seed, Mr. Newry? You have to nurture it. It grows, right?
Yeah.
God send the sun, the rain, et cetera, the plant grows. So let's say a marijuana plant is planted. God helps grows the tree. They don't charge God. They can charge me and you. So I'm looking at it from a male perspective here. I mean, if I'm trying to help the female, they help daughters. We impregnate these ladies, right? And we don't help nurture. So then it's a curse comes subsequently with our father. We see it with elephants. We see it in the animal kingdom, but we don't use this as a reference point. So for me, if I had met the young lady in person, she had approached me, and I really see a situation, I would have helped her. But how long I could do that? But what I'm saying is, for me, in hearing what the little simple things she's asking for, right? I believe it is true. But if it was more, like I say, a GoFundMe account, then I would implement the measures that you are talking about. But as far as just milk and toothbrush, and that is really, it really hurt me to hear that. Bless up, yeah, man.
I was saying 52, you go next door. I have some good neighbors too. I could go next door and ask for 2 bottles of water.
I get Family Island neighbors.
They filed Rudy.
No. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood that had a lot of Family Island people in it. Family Island people differenter.
You're different too?
Yeah.
You're different from Nassau people.
Yeah.
Nassau people don't share. See, I'm thinking community. If you do not have community, if you haven't established yourself that you can go next door to ask for a glass of water, something is wrong.
Right. Like when you move into a neighborhood, who is responsible for making the introduction? Are you supposed to go to all the neighbors and say, hey, I'm your new neighbor. I'm living in this house. Look here, I got 3 children. One of them, they a little special. I mean, they're not on the spectrum. They just don't have no good sense. So be careful when you're driving, right? Like, is it your responsibility as a new resident to go and introduce yourself to all the family members? You may say, hey, I'm a police officer. You can see police cars coming through the place, da-da-da-da. Or are the residents of the community supposed to say, hey, look, we got a new neighbor. Let's organize something. Let's take them a small pot of sauce, some Johnny cake. You see they moving in. Introduce them to the neighborhood, familiarize them with some of the people in the neighborhood. This boy here, he's a mechanic. Yeah, you can see plenty cars, but he cool. You need something done. He can figure out if he could do it for you. This boy here is a wakeman. You can see plenty pipe and sawdust and thing, but you need little carpentry. You need little plumbing. You could always call on him. Like, who is responsible for that?
But let's have a conversation before we go on a break about what I call young women. When I say young women, I'm talking about from 18 to about 30.
Okay.
That specific ages, right? Who have children, right? They got an apartment. They move out from their parents' house for whatever reason, right? But they having challenges because they either got pregnant early, didn't get enough education, or just not underemployed. How are they surviving? How do we help them specifically, right? Especially when in the Bahamas, to have access to real money, you have to work shifts, right? Especially with limited education, right? Or you would be working those food store type jobs where you only make $175 because they purposely don't give you the full hours, so you're not gonna make the $250. How are you able to survive? Whose duty of care is it to make sure that you survive and your children get the support when you know that social services are limited?
Okay, let's start here. The first thing we have to do is we need a survey to determine how many girl children moved out of their house because of the social dynamics within the home. So I moved out of my house so I moved out of my house because at the age of 25, my parents still think a 10 a.m. curfew is what's supposed to fly. I moved out of my parents' house because I'm contributing to the bills, but I'm still being treated like a 5-year-old. Or worse, I moved out of my parents' house because I'm expected to contribute, but there's also a family member here that's, sexually harassing me or sexually molesting me or worse, raping me.
Or just to make space for my little sister to get a full bed
Right.
to sleep on.
So, right, what motivated the move out? Because if I'm in this home, and I'm going to say this, we still have some cultural elements or character. We still have this cultural thing where some parents feel that they have a spiritual and social responsibility to bring their children in sexually.
We hear that on the family islands often, and even in New Providence in certain communities.
Right? And that's why you've moved out. You could barely afford to pay rent by yourself. So who you moving in with? Are you moving in with a man? Is that how you got pregnant? Did you get pregnant because you ran from the pot to the fire? You thought you were in a relationship with a man, it was equitable. You tell him, I'm prepared to do 50-50. He say, baby, you don't have to do 50-50, 25-75 will work. You give him 50-50 and he still abuses you. He says, I is the man in this household. And then it turns out he's taking all the money from you and he's beating you, right? Because you're now in a situation where you're not controlling your own finances.
So who does one turn to?
Go to the police, because that's financial abuse. That's called financial violence. And in the Domestic Violence Act, you can seek recourse with the police for financial abuse, which is where somebody who you cohabiting with, you living with, takes your money, demands the entire paycheck.
Is there some, such as a not halfway house, a interim home for young women who go into transitioning? They get, like this lady who put the narrative that
Right.
her boyfriend put her out, someplace for her to stay?
In terms of like transitional homes, the only ones I'm aware of are those who exist through the partnership with Ranfully Home and their donors and partners, where they have a program where they are creating transitional housing along with transitional programming for wards of the state who are becoming adults, right? I know that we have a limited number of safe houses, which we cannot talk about the location, right? The most important thing, you don't talk about the location. So we have a limited number of safe houses, and we do have some temporary housing options available. And there's a difference between temporary housing and a safe house, right? A safe house is when this man threatened to kill me. I call the service, right, the organization, and they say, go to this gas station, someone's coming to pick you up. You don't tell them where they're going, because they may still, even though they're trying to escape, they may still be under the right of the perpetrator. And so you pick them up and then you take them to the safe house, right? And you can make a couple stops in between, probably stop at the police station because you don't want the person to follow you either to determine the location of the safe house. Or you may have an instance where a woman says, my partner is a police officer and he continually beats me and the officers at the station continually ignore it and I need a safe house. So it would be an entity that even the police are not aware of the location, or only key or senior officers know where it is located, right? For the purpose of providing security for it. And so there's a difference between like temporary residential housing and safe houses. We don't have enough of any of them.
Let's take this call and then we'll go on a break right after this. Producer, patch that caller through for me, please. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello.
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 I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I'm calling with reference to a situation I saw on the weekend. I am at the traffic light of Church Street next to St. Matthew's.
Okay.
And at the light, there are two ladies there. One is an obviously elderly lady.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
We're listening.
I can hear you now.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
calling with reference to a situation I saw on Saturday morning. There were two ladies at the junction of Church Street and East Bay,
Okay.
which would be like the entrance to the Paradise Island Bridge.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The senior lady obviously an elderly person, no hat on her head, frail as they can be, sitting on a rock. Sitting on a rock.
Yes, ma'am.
We
We can
go
still
ahead.
hear you.
Just go your narrative.
And on top of that, there is a young woman with her begging. She said she's begged this lady. And I said to her, Miss, this is no place to have a senior citizen sitting on a damp rock, a frail. And she's saying to me, you don't know, we need help. We've been to social services. We need help. And she's pointing at the old lady. And this lady looks like she could be in a ball. You know, and I'm wondering, as a community, what do we do? That is obviously elderly abuse.
I can tell you right now what we as a community do, right? Because I'm an Anglican, and we at Church and Bay, and St. Matthew's is right there, right? What we do is we, as a church community, St. Matthew's people, we call on all of our other Anglican partners through the ACW and the ACM, the Anglican Church Women and the Anglican Church Men, right? We identify all the business people. We identify all the landowners and landlords, right? And we realize that we need a temporary housing or a low-cost housing option.
Erin,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand exactly what you're saying, but St. Matthew's is doing what they can. They opened up a daycare center. They serve food every other day, and the numbers are exorbitant. My point is, this is a Saturday morning. The church is closed. They've just finished a walkathon, and this young woman who could work when you look at her, but she puts the elderly person out there on the rock so you could have a guilty conscience and give her something. That is not acceptable.
Okay, I appreciate that as well. I'd also say though, like if I were old and frail and feeling invisibilized, as if the state cannot see me, the church can't see me, I would then say, okay, yeah, I can make myself visible. I need people to see the condition that I'm in. I'm also taking into account the point that you make that there's a concern that the young woman may be taking advantage of both the elderly woman and the situation, right? Where she may be able to find work, but what if she is the elderly woman's caretaker and she can't work and provide care for the woman at the same time? And so what the point I'm making is that yes, St. Matthew's is doing a lot, but we need to take it a step higher and reorganize our resources so that our efforts are less charity focused and more structural reform focused. Because if the Anglican Church and the key stakeholders and the movers and shakers in the Anglican Church could shift up the culture, then we would have more people investing in affordable housing options.
I remember CA saying, you go to your church, you go to your community or agency.
Mm-hmm. Because here's my thing.
You could come to the church.
The people.
You don't have to sit out on the rock on a Saturday. If you come to the church, I am sure we would assist.
Absolutely.
If you coming out on a Saturday, you don't come to church. Obviously not, because we would have known about that situation.
But I mean,
we serve Sunday morning after 7 o'clock mass. We serve any number of persons who are in need. So if they used to come into St. Matthew's, they would have been taken care of.
No, man, absolutely.
I promise you that.
But here's what I'm saying, right? And I'm an Anglican, and I saying that with the risk of getting pinched. You know how the good bishop used to slap you for your confirmation? Even getting another confirmation slap at this age. But what I know is the Anglican Church has the individuals within that have the capacity, the mental capacity, they have the economic capacity, and they have the socio-political capacity to provide projects that are not just charity-based, but the types of projects that convince them that they don't need to spend all their money building homes for foreigners and foreign direct investment and to make money off of tourists, and that maybe somebody should focus on housing for Bahamians. That's right, like let's move away from charity to structural reform.
Thank you very much, Kola.
And we will continue to do what Newry said and what you encourage, which is encourage people to go into systems that already exist, right? As opposed to trying to one people. You know, you get to be vulnerable, and even though you're already in a vulnerable state, and trust the systems that exist until we could build better ones.
Again, this text directly to you says, Aaron, since you are defending elderly abuse, what if the grown men, them, who touch the little girls, also touch as a child and cannot help it? They're trying to bait you there, Aaron.
Yeah, I know who that is.
They're trying to bait you there, Aaron.
I suggest you seek the help you think I need, Dexter.
This one says, Newry, every morning in the parking lot at Super Value out west, a young schoolboy dressed in his bags, I guess his uniform, bags for lunch money, $4, with his mother looking on. That's happening to a number of Super Value parking lots now where everybody's doing a hustle. This text says, we need to grow the economy. The longer this state of affairs persists, the more elderly people there'll be, sitting on rocks and dying alone. This is a canary in a coal mine.
It's not growing the economy alone because the economy is growing. It is ensuring inclusion. It's about ensuring inclusion in the economy as an equal and equitable player. Don't have me, see, we're all a part of the economy, but some people think like we are the ship that they're supposed to wreck, right? As opposed to we are equal and equitable participants in this economy. The economy is supposed to work for all of us. The economy isn't supposed to be me working for you. That's called slavery.
Let me see if I can squeeze this call in. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Guys, all good today?
Yes, yeah?
Well, about some of the errors said about St. Matthews.
Yes, sir.
They do an excellent job. I think they could do more.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of persons, I met Daddy Barry in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am one of the person presently there right now who in that little thing with the office for the old people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as members of the church and all that, giving every Sunday and all of that type of stuff, much more they could do. I think you know what I talk about.
Right, because it's about structural reform. It's not about taking more money from them. It's about creating systems that use the money more effectively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, caller.
Right.
Aaron, that look like your MP outside. That's not your MP, or that's your back? That's your MP?
You know I'm in St. Anne's constituency.
That's your MP.
That's my MP?
Yeah, that's your MP. Yeah, see? Yes, that's your MP. I recognize him.
Good, I need to have a word with him about these raccoons.
The raccoons. Yeah, well, yeah, the raccoons been attacking your fruit trees. Let them know.
Yeah.
Let them know. Let's squeeze this caller in one
No,
more
because
time.
whoever teach the raccoons to eat ganap need to teach and tutor inside the constituency office. They smart.
You can talk to him while he come on Howard. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good day, Mr. Newry, and good day, Aaron.
Good morning.
Love your raccoon. You need to name them now. Anyway.
They have to pay them to get named.
Aaron,
Yes, ma'am.
if I teach you how to fish, how then would you need me?
That's what the raccoon said. Miss, you was trying to feed me ganap. The boy teach me how to eat ganap. I on my own now. Thank you.
Exactly. So if I teach you how to fish, then you will no longer need me, and then I would now start to feel like you're getting. I may believe in my mind that you're getting bigger than I am. The young lady, the situation the lady spoke of just now concerning that lady there, she said social service. Remember now, social service is not going to put cash in your hand. Social service is going to render you some assistance where you can get food and different stuff where you have to carry the information they give you directly to where you're going to get what you need. Some people want cash in their hand for whatever their reasons are, best known to them.
Yes.
So I believe they may be getting assistance because I refuse to believe that someone that old and frail, social service will turn them away today.
Absolutely.
So I most believe the person was looking for cash in their hand for something that they wanted for, and this is why they tried on their own, didn't get anything, so they tend to try and use this lady.
Cousin,
as
if I reach 85 and none of these little nieces and nephews and cousins of mine will let me drink, I may have to go out on the road and beg $3 a day for my little top as well, you know.
No, you won't, Aaron.
I mean, you wouldn't let me.
You got my number even at 85. You call me and I'll bring you your little water and your little something to drink.
That's
and I'll
what
keep your raccoons
family's
coming around
supposed
your
to
house.
be for.
And listen, in the spirit of Older Persons Month, right? Let's continue this conversation. The text that talked about elder abuse. Let's
very much,
continue
Rhoda.
this conversation throughout the week and throughout the month. Because the problem is when you old, right? By the time you get old, you forget you're supposed to be preparing to be old.
Yeah, we need to have a deeper conversation about how we can protect and assist senior citizens in the Bahamas. What type of duty of care? What does church do? What can we do? Anyway, the music playing. It's now 11:59. This has been Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. Have a beautiful day.